Hi, and welcome back to Life at the Mesa. Today I'll be sharing with you a brand new recipe, and that is my healthy banana bars. Before I get started, I wanted to quickly mention what exactly it is about this recipe that, one, not only makes it really delicious, but two, also what makes it healthier than traditional banana bread. So for starters, we swapped out the traditional cane sugar, so that's very processed, and usually that's what spikes your blood sugar very quickly. We swapped that out with natural sources, so dates and maple syrup. Now, maple syrup is not nearly as processed as honey, agave, or some other liquid sweeteners, so it's definitely my go-to liquid sweetener. In terms of the traditional all-purpose flour that's usually found in banana bread, we swapped that out with an oat flour and whole wheat combo. By doing this, not only are we lowering the glycemic index, and glycemic index means the rate at which certain carbohydrates affect your blood sugar. And typically, all-purpose flour, since it's been stripped of all of the nutritional value, it typically spikes your blood sugar pretty quickly. So by swapping that out, we not only added in some extra fiber, we lowered the glycemic index, but we've also added in some B vitamins and some trace minerals. So definitely much more nutritious. And as for the traditional butter that's usually filled within that, we swapped that out for some peanut butter instead. Now, peanut butter not only has more protein in it, but it's also a much healthier choice since it is a natural source of fat. It's omega-6 type of fats, which is essential to our diet. So by adding that in, we ultimately changed the nutrition profile of the banana bars because traditionally they are very high in calories, have little nutritional value, if any at all, maybe some from the bananas. So by making these really easy swaps, we now have an extremely delicious, moist, gooey banana bread, but that doesn't have any guilty pleasure associated with it. Now, when I say that these banana bars are good, I don't mean they're good for a healthy banana bar recipe. I mean they're good in general. I kid you not, I tested these out with multiple family members, friends, and all agreed that it was absolutely delicious, and they found themselves going back for more. But the best part about these, and my favorite part, is because of all the fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and the protein from the peanut butter, not only is it satisfying, but it's also very filling. So even if you wanted to overindulge in these, it's not quite completely possible because after two, the fiber fills your stomach up and you start to feel very full. So that's an added benefit of these ones. If you give them a try, tag us, let us know. I would love to see how it turns out for you. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the recipe. Now, to make the oat flour, you'll add your rolled oats into the food processor, or you can use a blender, and you're just going to go ahead and process it until it's a fine powder. Once you can't see the individual oats anymore and it's a texture like this, you're good to go. Then you'll add in your dry ingredients into the same bowl with the oats and then set them aside. As for the date mixture, you'll add your dates into a food processor or blender, and depending on how moist your dates are, you may or may not need to add a little bit of hot water to help get things moving along. The ideal consistency here is to not have any individual chunks of the dates, so it should be smooth and pretty thick and creamy, so pretty comparable to how peanut butter would look. If the dates kind of start to ball up and form a solid ball, go ahead and add in some extra hot water just to help it achieve the smooth consistency. You don't want to have any pieces of the dates, as I mentioned. You just want it to be smooth, thick, and creamy, just as so. Once you have your date mixture set, you're going to go ahead and start on the banana portion. So just focus on mashing the bananas as well as you can with a fork or a masher. To the same bowl that you mashed your bananas, you're going to go ahead and add in the rest of your wet ingredients, and this includes the 2 eggs, the date mixture, and also the peanut butter. Once all of that is added in, you'll go ahead and mix it to combine. And to finish off the wet mixture, you'll add in 1 teaspoon of maple syrup and 1 teaspoon of a vanilla extract. Once again, you're going to mix it to combine, and then we're ready to go to add in our dry ingredients. Then we're going to add in slowly our dry ingredients, and you want to do this in about half a cup at a time, otherwise it can really seize up on you and get too dried out. So by adding it in little by little, we make sure that everything is completely incorporated and that nothing gets lumpy. So little by little you'll add this in, and then once everything is combined, you'll go ahead and butter a baking sheet. So I'm using an 8x13 cake pan. Again, I mentioned if you wanted to make this as a loaf, you can also do that, but you'll have to double the time as well. Once your grease tray is set, you'll go ahead and start to add in the mixture. And take your time doing this because you want this to be as even as possible. Otherwise, if you don't take the time to smooth it out, you'll end up with some areas that are drier or maybe some that are chewier than others. And the whole point is you want it to be consistently all around moist and soft. So since we made this a healthier deal, I figured it would be okay to add a little bit of butter on top to help it achieve a golden brown crispy top and to help keep it moist. This is optional, but I think it definitely makes a difference. Now it's ready to bake at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. So once they were out of the oven, I thought they were perfect as is, but for presentation purposes, I went ahead and drizzled some maple syrup. It's an option if you'd like to have this as like a breakfast bar, but either way, whatever you decide to eat it, whether as is, add some cream cheese frosting, it's an absolutely amazing alternative to traditional banana bread. Alright, so that's going to do it for this recipe today. I hope you enjoy it. If you try it out, like I mentioned earlier, tag us. Feel free to send us your pictures. I would love to see how it turned out for you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.